Chosen one, listen very carefully. The same people who once laughed at you are suddenly quiet because you just passed a spiritual test you didn't even know you were taking. Heaven has shifted something around your name. While others judged you, God was preparing you. While they doubted you, your spirit was rising in silence. Now, your reward is being released, not tomorrow, not someday, but starting right now. This is why this message found you today. Your breakthrough is no longer a promise. It has already begun, and those who underestimated you will soon witness a rise they cannot explain. But before we go deeper, do 3 things. Like the video, comment, "Thank you, God, for choosing me," and subscribe to send your signal to the universe. Your new chapter starts at this very moment. Your silent pain became your strength. People around you never understood the battles you were fighting because you never showed them. You carried so much inside you: disappointments, heartbreaks, pressure, fear. Yet you walked through life with a calm face. Some people mistook that silence for weakness. They thought you didn't speak up because you had no power. They assumed you stayed quiet because you had nothing to say. But the truth is completely different. Your silence wasn't a sign of weakness. It was a sign of maturity, restraint, and spiritual strength. Many times, you wanted to break down, but you didn't. You wanted to scream, but you chose patience. You wanted to give up, but something inside you kept telling you, "Hold on just a little longer." That inner voice was not your mind. It was your soul trying to guide you through the storm. And even when life hit you the hardest, you didn't allow bitterness to take over. You didn't allow anger to poison your heart. Instead, you allowed pain to teach you, shape you, and strengthen you in ways no one could see. Your quiet suffering built qualities inside you that can't be learned in comfort: discipline, endurance, emotional intelligence, empathy, and emotional strength. You learned how to stand alone. You learned how to fight battles without announcing them. You learned how to stay calm while everything around you was falling apart. And slowly, without realizing it, you became someone extremely strong. Not loud strong, but soul strong. The kind of strength that cannot be broken easily. While others laughed at you or judged you, something powerful was happening within you. Every tear became a lesson. Every setback became a stepping stone. Every lonely night turned into a spiritual awakening. You began to understand yourself on a deeper level. You began to realize who you are, what you deserve, and what your soul is truly capable of handling. Life was training you in silence because your calling is not normal. Your journey is not ordinary. Chosen ones don't grow in comfort. They grow in pressure. People doubted you because they only saw the outside. Your calmness, your quietness, your stillness. They didn't know that your silence was holding stories of survival. They didn't know you had to rebuild yourself again and again without anyone's help. They didn't know you were carrying strength that even you didn't fully understand at the time. But God knew. Heaven saw everything. Every tear you wiped alone. Every moment you stayed strong when you wanted to collapse. Every time you chose faith over fear. And now, that strength you gained silently is becoming the foundation of your rise. You are stepping into a season where your inner power will show outwardly. The same people who underestimated your quietness will be shocked by the authority you now carry. The strength that was once hidden is becoming undeniable. Your silent pain has transformed into the very power that will elevate you to your next chapter. God tested your heart before He elevated your life. Chosen one, Your rise is not happening because of chance, luck, or coincidence. It's happening because your heart has finally reached the level God needed it to be. Before God ever blesses someone publicly, He watches them privately. He tests their intentions, their reactions, their patience, and their inner character. And that's exactly what you went through. What looked like delays were actually spiritual exams. What felt like rejection was training for the blessing you prayed for. Every time a door closed in your face, God wasn't trying to punish you. He was checking what lived inside your heart. Would you break down or break through? Would you become bitter or become better? Would you fight people or trust God's timing? These moments revealed who you truly are. And even though it hurt, you kept your heart clean. You didn't let resentment grow roots inside you. You didn't let jealousy, anger, or revenge take control of your spirit. That alone made you different from many. There were seasons where it felt like everyone else was moving ahead while you were stuck. You watched people receive blessings you were praying for. You saw others promoted while you stayed waiting. You wondered if something was wrong with you. But nothing was wrong. God was preparing your heart so you could carry the blessing without losing yourself. Some people receive success and turn arrogant. Some get love and start acting careless. Some receive money and forget who helped them. But you stayed grounded. You stayed grateful. You stayed kind, even when life wasn't kind to you. That's why God trusted you with this next level. He watched how you treated people who hurt you. He watched how you handled situations that were unfair. He watched how you remained gentle in a world that wanted to harden you. He watched you fight battles internally without destroying others externally. Your character became your qualification. There were moments where you wanted to react, to shout, to defend yourself. But you chose peace. That wasn't weakness, that was growth. There were moments where you wanted to walk away from faith, but you stayed. That wasn't confusion, that was loyalty. And because you stayed faithful when nothing made sense, heaven marked your name for elevation. Some blessings require a strong heart. Some miracles require emotional maturity. Some breakthroughs require humility. And through every challenge, you proved that your heart is ready. You asked for elevation, and God said, "Not yet. Your heart needs more shaping." Now that season has ended. The shaping is complete. You are no longer the same version of yourself who entered the storm. You are wiser, calmer, more patient, more spiritual, and more disciplined. Your heart passed the test long before the blessing showed up. That's why your elevation will be sudden and undeniable. When people see your rise, they will say, "How did this happen?" But you will know it happened because your heart was prepared. God is lifting you now because you're ready to carry what He's about to give you. You outgrew the people who tried to shrink you. Chosen one. One of the hardest truths you had to accept was this: not everyone around you was meant to stay with you as you grew. Some people didn't dislike you. They feared what you could become. They sensed your potential long before you did, and instead of being inspired, they felt threatened. Your dreams were too big for their imagination. Your mindset was too elevated for their limits. Your destiny was too powerful for the comfort zone they wanted you to stay in. Many times you walked into rooms where your light made others uncomfortable, not because you were showing off, but because your energy exposed their lack of growth. People who haven't healed don't like being around someone who is trying to grow. People who aren't willing to change feel insecure around someone who refuses to stay small. And, instead of cheering for you, they tried to shrink you. through jokes, comments, doubt, negativity, or silence. But God saw your potential, even when others only saw your current level. He knew that if he left you in those environments, your spirit would suffocate. So he began to separate you, gently at first, then suddenly. People you once trusted started pulling away. Conversations felt different. Friendships felt heavy. Connections that once felt natural began to feel forced. You didn't understand it at that time, but now you see clearly it was divine protection, not rejection. God removed you from certain circles because he knew those circles would limit your future. He took you out of rooms where your spirit was dimmed so he could place you in spaces where your gifts would grow. You felt lonely for a while, but that loneliness was space being created for better people, better energy, and better alignment. You weren't being isolated, you were being elevated. Your growth was quiet, but powerful. Without even realizing it, you became wiser, more focused, more self-aware. You stopped explaining yourself to people who didn't want to understand you. You stopped shrinking to make others feel comfortable. You stopped pretending to be less just to fit in. Slowly, you returned to your true size, the size God intended for you. And now, the people who once laughed or doubted are watching you rise from a distance they can no longer approach, not because you pushed them away, but because your elevation naturally separated you from them. They cannot follow you into this next chapter because they were never meant to be part of it. Your destiny required a new level of energy, and their presence couldn't match it. Your spirit was always too big for the small places you tried to fit into. God didn't let you stay where your growth would be limited. He pulled you out so you could expand, evolve, and become the powerful version of yourself you are stepping into today. And now, your rise is the silent answer to every person who tried to shrink your potential. Your resilience shocked the spiritual realm. Chosen one, you have survived things that would have crushed many people. Life wasn't gentle with you. You faced emotional storms, unexpected losses, betrayals, financial pressure, loneliness, and moments where everything seemed to fall apart at the same time. Anyone else in your position might have broken completely, but somehow you kept getting back up. Your spirit refused to stay down. Even when you felt shattered inside, you still moved forward with whatever strength you had left. Your resilience didn't come from having an easy life. It came from fighting through hardship and refusing to give up. There were nights when you cried yourself to sleep, but woke up the next morning determined to try again. There were days when you felt invisible, unsupported, or misunderstood, yet you continued walking your path quietly. Every challenge made you stronger, even if it didn't feel like it at the time. What people around you didn't understand is that your strength wasn't normal. It wasn't the kind of strength that comes from confidence or motivation. It was spiritual strength, built through struggle, shaped by faith, and protected by God. Heaven was watching how you endured, how you handled pain, and how you held on to hope, even in the darkest moments. And your resilience created a ripple in the spiritual realm. It became a signal that you were not ordinary, you were chosen. Every time you survived something meant to destroy you, angels shifted closer to your path. When you kept going despite emotional exhaustion, heaven whispered, "This one is ready." Your perseverance showed that your destiny couldn't be delayed by fear or hardship. Your comeback spirit became the proof that your calling is bigger than your obstacles. There were moments where your soul felt broken, yet something inside you, that divine spark, refused to let you stay defeated. You might not have realized it then, but every step you took during those painful seasons was shaping your future. You developed courage you didn't know you had. You learned how strong your mind truly was. You discovered a level of endurance that will serve you for the rest of your life. And because you didn't collapse under pressure, your destiny shifted. Your resilience changed things in the unseen world before anything changed in the physical world. Doors began aligning. Blessings started moving. Opportunities slowly unfolded. Why? Because you proved that you could handle more. You proved that your spirit could carry weight without breaking. Your resilience is the reason you're stepping into a new chapter now. Heaven knows you earned this rise. Angels know you are prepared. Your strength has become your qualification. Your survival has become your testimony, and the spiritual realm has already acknowledged your victory before you see it with your eyes. You bent, but you never snapped, and that single truth has become the turning point of your destiny. The same resilience that kept you alive is now the force that will lift you into your purpose. The blessing you carried in secret is becoming public, chosen one. For a long time, it felt like nothing in your life was changing, even though you were working on yourself every single day. You were growing in ways the world couldn't see, spiritually, emotionally, mentally, and quietly. Your healing was happening behind closed doors. Your transformation was happening in silence. You became stronger, wiser, and more aware, but no one knew the battle it took to reach this level. While others were showing off their progress loudly, you were developing in the background. You didn't need attention. You needed alignment. You didn't crave applause. You craved purpose. You didn't want to be seen. You wanted to be prepared. And that's exactly what God was doing, preparing you away from the noise so that when your moment arrived, nothing and no one could stop it. Your hidden season was not a punishment. It was protection. God knew that if people saw the early stages of your growth, some would try to discourage you, distract you, or pull you backwards. So He kept your progress private while He strengthened your foundation. That's why your blessings felt slow. That's why your breakthroughs felt delayed. That's why your success wasn't loud. You were being shaped quietly so that your future would be unshakable. But now, everything is shifting. God is flipping the script. What was once hidden is coming into the light. The talents you developed in silence are about to shine publicly. The lessons you learned alone are about to elevate your path. The wisdom you gained through pain is becoming your advantage. Everything you built when nobody was watching is about to speak for you. People who thought you were not moving will soon realize you were evolving the whole time. Those who underestimated you will suddenly wonder how you transformed so quickly. The truth is, your rise isn't sudden. It was years of internal work finally breaking through the surface. And now, your glow is too bright to ignore. This is why the people who once mocked you are silent now. They can't laugh at someone whose light has become undeniable. They can't joke about someone who carries divine favor. They can't question someone whose growth is backed by God. Your transformation is making its own announcement, and it is louder than any insult, doubt, or negativity ever thrown your way. Your life is entering a chapter where everything you worked for quietly will now reward you loudly. The blessing that was forming in secret is becoming visible. The strength that was built in silence is becoming powerful. The calling that was hidden inside you is stepping into the open. And nothing, absolutely nothing, can stop what God is revealing now. Your season of being unnoticed is over. Your time of being overlooked is ending. Your private preparation is turning into public elevation. And the world is about to see what heaven has known all along. You were chosen for greatness. Those who misjudged you are facing their own reflection. Chosen one. For a long time, people saw you through the lens of their own insecurities. They judged you not based on who you were, but based on who they were afraid you could become. They misunderstood your kindness as weakness, your silence as confusion, your patience as lack of strength. They didn't know that behind your gentle spirit was a powerful soul being shaped by God. When people don't understand your heart, they create their own stories. And many did exactly that with you. They assumed you were naive, too soft, too trusting. They thought you didn't know what was happening around you. They mistook your forgiveness for foolishness. But the truth is, you saw everything. You just chose not to retaliate. You chose compassion over confrontation, peace over ego, and understanding over anger. That choice revealed your character, while their reactions revealed theirs. Now, as your life begins to shift and your strength becomes visible, something deep is happening on the other side. Their silence is turning into self-reflection. People who once laughed at you or doubted you are now realizing they misjudged you completely. They're finally understanding that your heart was pure, your intentions were genuine, and your spirit was far stronger than they ever imagined. This silence you're hearing isn't accidental. It's conviction. They're replaying past moments in their mind, moments where they talked down to you, ignored you, or disrespected you. And now they see how wrong they were. They see how gracefully you handled situations they would have exploded in. They see how loyal you remained, even when they weren't loyal to you. They see how you loved sincerely while they took you for granted. Their laughter has turned into questions. How did they survive that? How did they stay so kind? How did they rise after everything we said? And those questions are turning into regret, the kind that sits heavy on the heart. They're realizing that they lost someone rare. They're realizing that your presence was a blessing they didn't appreciate. They're realizing that God protected you not because you were weak, but because you were chosen. This is God's way of revealing truth, not to embarrass them, but to awaken them, not to punish them, but to help them grow. And while they face the reflection of their own actions, God is lifting you higher, showing the world who you truly are. You didn't need to prove yourself. Your life is proving it for you. You didn't need to scream the truth. Time is speaking louder than any argument. You didn't need revenge. God brought clarity. Now, as you rise, everyone who misjudged you will see the truth. You weren't weak, you were patient. You weren't lost, you were learning. You weren't small, you were becoming powerful. And now that God is revealing your worth, no one will ever look at you the same way again. A new level of divine protection has been activated. Chosen one. Now that your rise has started, you may notice something unusual happening around you. Things are shifting, people are changing, and situations are rearranging themselves faster than before. This isn't random. It's divine protection being activated on a higher level. When God decides it's your time to elevate, He doesn't just open doors, He also closes the wrong ones. He doesn't just send blessings, He removes anything that might block them. You'll notice that negativity no longer stays around you the way it used to. Arguments fade quickly, drama loses its power, and toxic people feel uncomfortable in your presence. This is not because you changed your behavior, it's because your spiritual frequency has risen. Your spirit can no longer tolerate what once drained you. God is cleansing your path, so your next chapter unfolds smoothly. People who once had easy access to you may start distancing themselves or disappearing completely. Don't worry. This is divine intervention, not rejection. God is filtering your circle, removing anyone who could slow down your growth or distract you from your purpose. The ones who leave at this stage were never meant to witness the next level of your life. Their season in your story has ended, and God is making sure you don't carry unnecessary weight into your breakthrough. You may also find that things that used to trouble you no longer affect you the same way. Problems that once shook you now feel small. Situations that once made you panic now feel manageable. This is because God has placed a shield over your spirit. You're being protected not only from outside harm, but also from internal fear. Your mind is clearer, your emotions are calmer, and your intuition is stronger. This is spiritual insulation, a heavenly barrier that keeps you steady as you step into bigger blessings. Every step you take now is guided more intentionally. You'll feel nudges, signs, and strong inner knowing when something is right or wrong. You'll sense who you can trust and who you must avoid. You'll feel when to move forward, when to stay still, and when to walk away. This is not overthinking. This is divine guidance, working in real time. God is directing your steps so you don't wander into danger or detour away from destiny. Your purpose is too important for interruptions now. God is not letting anything or anyone stand in the way of your rise. You survived too much, learned too much, and transformed too deeply to be held back again. That's why the protection around you has increased. The battle you just came out of taught you strength, but the chapter you're entering requires peace, and God is making sure you have it. You are walking into a season where blessings flow naturally, where obstacles clear themselves, and where every move you make feels supported by something bigger than you. This is divine protection at its highest level. You are surrounded, covered, and guided. Nothing formed against you can stand, because God has already secured your path. Your unexpected rise will be proof of God's hand on your life. Chosen one, this point carries the deepest truth of your entire journey. The rise you're stepping into now is not something that can be explained by logic, hard work alone, or coincidence. It's bigger than that. It's divine. It's spiritual. It's the kind of transformation that makes people stop, stare, and question how everything changed for you so suddenly. And that's exactly how God intends it to be. Undeniable, unforgettable, and unmistakably guided by His hand. For years, nothing seemed to move. Doors stayed closed. Opportunities slipped away. People doubted you. Some even laughed behind your back, convinced that you would never become anything significant. They looked at your struggle and assumed it was your final chapter. What they didn't know was that God was writing something far bigger than their imagination. They judged the seed, but they had no idea what kind of tree was growing inside you. And now, when your breakthrough arrives, it won't be slow or quiet. It will be sudden, surprising, and powerful. Blessings will begin to show up in areas where you once faced repeated rejection. Opportunities will fall into place without your chasing them. People you never expected will show up with support, offers, resources, and open doors. Connections will form out of nowhere, and solutions to old problems will appear effortlessly. This kind of rise is not something you can explain to others. You won't be able to say, "I planned this," because you didn't. You won't be able to say, "I made this happen," because you didn't. You'll simply know, deep in your spirit, that God stepped in. And that's why people around you will be shocked, because it will be clear that your elevation isn't man-made. It's divine intervention. The very people who used to underestimate you will fall silent. not because they're angry, but because they finally see who you truly are. They're witnessing something they never expected, the rise of someone they counted out. That silence is not emptiness. It's realization. It's respect. It's the world quietly admitting, we were wrong about them. Your rise will become living proof that God protects His chosen ones, even when it looks like nothing is happening. It will show that divine timing is always better than human timing. It will reveal that a heart that stays faithful eventually attracts miracles that others can't understand. People will look at your success and say, this doesn't make sense. And that's the point. It's not supposed to. Because your story is not a story of luck. It's a story of divine purpose. It's a testimony. It's evidence that when God decides to lift someone, no person, no mistake, no delay, and no enemy can stop it. You were laughed at, doubted, ignored, and overlooked. Only so God could reveal the truth at the right moment. Now your rise will speak louder than every insult, every doubt, and every closed door. The world will know that the one they underestimated was chosen from the beginning.